Hello, Luke here. I would just like to take a moment to disclose upfront that we sometimes talk about sensitive topics in our podcasts, and in fairness to our audience, we will try our best to put specific warnings in the descriptions of each episode. Now on with the show.
World's in a bad way. Team not found. Need to suck my dick to prove that you're down. You say you don't know. I say they might die. Take a shot in the mouth, then we'll go for a ride. You swear you're not gay. It's not like that. Just need to go down to bring my trust back around. Suck my cock, Gary. Suck my cock, Gary.
Oh, shit.
Was Had a Bad Day by Daniel Porter. Welcome to the Nostalgia Killers podcast, where we revisit films from our youth to see if they still hold up or should be inserted into the great DVD player in the sky. As always, I am Chuck Starzenski, joined most of the time by Javier Martinez.
Coming again to save the fucking podcast, Javier. Fuck yeah.
And once again, finally, for the second time, joined by the lovely, always salacious, always hilarious, always handsome.
Don't lie. Kyle Warner. That's right, I'm back. Thanks for having me back. Glad to be here.
A group of right-wing marionettes fight racial stereotypes and destroy everything they come in contact with, including Matt Damon in Team America World Police. And be sure to stick around after the discussion. We'll be covering our top 5 movie themes that pump you up. And as always, it's time for the honorary Sam Coughlin spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, yeah.
If you haven't seen this movie, it came out 20 years ago. It actually just had its anniversary back in May.
Oh.
But yeah, we're doing this one in honor of 4th of July, and hopefully I can get this out before 4th of July. If not, happy 12th of July. Aside from, being patriotic as fuck, what does this movie mean to you, Javier Martinez?
Ooh, well, let me just start off by saying that I really wish I could have gotten my cousin Sam Martinez to be on this podcast. Because every time I watch this film, I always think about him. He definitely saw it when it came out. I did not. And so I just grew up around my cousin. We're the same age. And so I just grew up around him at like whatever we were, like 12 years old, quoting the fuck out of this movie and me having no idea what he was talking about, but just laughing because I'm like, I know what you're saying, but that's fucking hilarious. And I remember, trying to be like, oh, maybe I can watch it. And my parents just steering me clear, like, you don't even think about it. No. I hear the stuff I hear the stuff that comes out of your cousin's mouth. You're not watching that shit. Like, oh, okay. Ended up watching it in high school at some point, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now, and this is amazing.
Yeah.
Man, I watch it at least every other year or something like that, or whenever people tell me they haven't seen it, I'm like, oh, perfect, let's watch that.
So for me, it was a similar kind of thing. When I was really young, South Park, my parents were like, no, you're not going to watch that. And I kind of felt like, that made sense, but I also was like, I just thought it was kind of stupid when I was a kid. I didn't really know what it was, but I kind of believed that it was just dumb and whatever. And then my relationship with South Park changed when I hit adulthood. Basically around 22, I started watching it and falling asleep to it and all these things, and I fell in love with the show entirely and still hadn't watched this movie. So I hadn't watched this movie until probably 3 or 4 years ago. And even when Chuck asked me to do it, I'm like, I don't even think I've seen that movie, because it's so much in my mind as just an extended episode of the show that it wasn't like I had seen it, but I just kind of had forgotten, because I've seen, like I said, I've seen and re-seen every episode of South Park probably 100 times, because it's just like my fall asleep show. It's like my favorite thing. I think it's hilarious, but I've seen it all, so I don't need to watch it, right? So rewatching this for me, it started with oh yeah, I have seen this, and oh yeah, I fucking love this movie. I loved it the first time I watched it. I think I had only seen it the one time though, so revisiting it was super cool and fun.
Yeah, I saw this in theaters at a sneak preview when I was 15 years old. So there was like a legit just hanging out with a friend in his living room. We saw an ad that was like, Team America, and all that, and just was
That's gotta be the best way to have seen this movie.
Yeah, and then it was like sneak preview this Thursday, and me and my friend, like 15, we don't have anything to do. We look at each other and we're like, today's Thursday. And we just like pull out the newspaper and we're like, oh shit, it's playing like in our town. Dude, let's go. So we went down, saw it. Yeah, we were like dying laughing in the theater and instantly quoting it for better or for worse. So like I was your cousin basically. And yeah, this movie was in heavy rotation in the background at kickbacks and like kind of like post-high school parties and things like that. Yeah, it was the party equivalent of your South Park of like, you don't have to watch it. Everyone's just, kind of hanging out. And then all of a sudden, hey, we're going to say, Durka Durka now. It's like, all right, we're doing this as a room. Great. Cool. Hell yeah. Glad this is a pretty homogenous racial group, because this is fucked up. Yeah, speaking of racial equality, what are your favorite scenes?
Perfect. I'm going to take that to jump right on it. The transformation into the Middle Eastern, Gary's transformation into the Middle Eastern terrorist.
Yeah.
Where we have this whole sequence of them doing the surgery and all this, and you're like, oh, cool, like, oh, interesting. And I remember just legit expecting it, to be like a different puppet face, whatever. Like, oh, we're using one of the same puppets from like the opening sequence or something.
That was my expectation was completely different than that. I thought they were going to do the whole scene and they were going to have changed nothing but put a turban on his head. Like I just thought that was going to be the whole joke. So, but the thing was, it wasn't either of what we expected, which is I think either of the two ways you could expect it. So for every audience member, I think it was a shock to just see hair on his face. So I agree, that was definitely
because of the poorly painted brown face. It just looks like fucking pubes on his face.
Yeah, and they did the whole face-off, like, he's in the chair for fucking 20 minutes, and it's just, that was absolutely...
Re-scanning his jaw.
As if they were doing anything with that. Yeah.
Sarah's, like, sweating as she's working on the... Oh, dude, it just gets me every time.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely Everyone Has AIDS. That's it's still, as a kid, tears.
Yeah.
As a fucking 35-year-old man, tears. I was just instant, just because I forgot about it for a second, and I haven't seen this in probably over a decade.
Wow.
And was just oh yeah, Team America. It was all the nostalgia feels coming in, and then all of a sudden it was just everyone has it. And I was like, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He died of AIDS.
Yeah.
Dude, that sent me.
I was gonna say, and that brings me to, and not to just kind of steamroll it, but that's honestly one of my favorite things about this movie. It's just all the little touches.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
It's
I have that on my notes
all the
too.
little vocal cues and things, and just little stupid things putting all the locations in relation to where America is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then, but also the big pictures of this movie. Everybody's either a dick, a pussy, or an asshole. That is, to go back to my favorite scenes, when the guy in the bar is bringing that shit up, and he is explaining him, and I'm going, this guy's fucking right. Yeah. On some level, I'm like, this is hilarious because obviously it's generalized to a very either narrow or broad, whichever way you want to look at it. But there's obviously more than three categories of people. But on some level, there's kind of not too. So it's I was like, wow, is that profound? While I'm sitting here listening to him talk about, how dicks fuck pussies and assholes, and the only way we're not going to get our shit covered in shit is by having dicks around. I'm like, why does that sound so fucking reasonable? You know what I mean? So that for me was definitely one of them as well.
Yeah, quick Cosmo quiz. Which one are you guys? I'm definitely a pussy.
I think I'm a pussy too. As much as I hate to say it, I'm all about getting along and peace and love. And to be fair too, this entire movie's premise is based off of that we should have been going to war and that everybody in Hollywood's basically pussies for, saying we shouldn't be at war. So they were kind of, to be fair, on maybe the wrong end of history of this one, big picture wise. Even still, they weren't wrong about the sentiment of it and on some level too. So it's funny how that all worked out.
I'm going to choose a cop-out answer. I'm going to say I'm more of a dildo. Right? I'm not really a dick, but I get the job done and I get the point across,
See, like I said, narrow, right? They didn't leave room for the dildos of the world.
Exactly.
How could they?
Yeah, where's strap-on visibility?
Come on.
Cairo monologue that Gary gives. Lit up the oil fields like the eyes of my
I put a jihad on you.
It's just, just to get back to what you said, it's just the little Trey Parker and Matt Stone isms, the little voices, it gets me.
Totally.
I'm gonna say I'm a huge Matt Stone, Trey Parker dick rider. I laugh at everything they do.
Dude, they're amazing. And the same thing is when he's the first sequence he has where he's trying to be the big actor that they need, which is such a funny fucking thing. They need the Top Gun actor, whatever, Maverick. It's so funny.
He's a Maverick renegade.
He's a Maverick renegade actor, yeah. And so they bring him to the fucking door. Or he goes up to the door and the guy's like, digga digga, blah, blah, blah. And he's he's just standing there. And there's that moment of silence, which they're like, oh no, he's gonna fucking blow it. He's, oh, come on, you can fucking do it. And then all of a sudden, he just hits him with the straight face, dirka dirka, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, that was the greatest acting of all time. It's just that is amazing stuff. I mean, but to be fair, you could take each scene of this movie and break it down, and there's at least some gold in every part of it. There's for me, it's on some level, not to jump too far ahead, but
no, it's all good.
There's a little bit of immaculateness to this entire movie. All scenes need to be had, and it's kind of there's nothing really that's deletable. Otherwise, the movie's missing something that it needs to, because the absurdity of it needs to go to a certain point for it to for any of it to work. And I think that if they didn't take it there like they did, scene after scene after scene, pushing the envelope like they do every single time, then the movie kind of falls flat. But because they did, because every time you got another scene, you were flabbergasted again by the next thing that they did. That's what made the movie special.
Oh yeah, just that constant kind of Trey Parker, Matt Stone, just pushing the envelope, always taking it to like the exact edge.
Exactly.
We're just like, oh, it's like you get to that point where it's like, fuck, this is almost uncomfortable. Should I be laughing?
Yeah, well, and beyond the edge, because they just basically, the way they shoot, right, is they film shit that's well beyond what gets into the movie, and then they just make the people tell them what they can and can't have, and they do shit that's so outlandish that makes the stuff that made the final cut seem reasonable.
Exactly.
That's what's so funny. Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll do that movie one day, but that's like legit the behind the scenes story of South Park Bigger and Longer and Uncut.
Yeah.
Is they made a different movie that was way tamer, and it got like shut down. They changed like the two big red flags that the studio was like, well, you can't do that. You absolutely can't do that. And it's like, okay, cool. And then they like, as a fuck you, made a script that was like way worse, way more heinous, just like purposely gratuitous. And they're like, oh, this is great. This is greenlit. This is the one.
The fucking throw up scene in the alleyway.
Yeah.
Dude, I lost it. And it was funny because so I was watching this movie. My wife walked in like just like a minute or two before that. And, you know, she had no idea what I was watching and she's never seen it. And so she's like, what the fuck is it? Like, what are you watching? The puppets? And I was like, oh yeah, Team America, you know? And so it was right when he started to puke and she lost it. She was like seizing, like how hard she was laughing. And she's like, what is this? And I'm like, yeah, you haven't even seen anything. You know, because at first you get that throwing up for way too long, but then it turns into like convulsing and like the
just sputtering.
Little jet like misfiring or probably whatever they're using and just for me,
straight, you fucking bomb.
Yeah, for me, that scene was not the most enjoyable to watch. I was just like, oh, God, oh, come on, for fuck's sake. I don't know, it's just, like, throwing up for me is never, like, an enjoyable watch, so that was not one of my favorite scenes, but but for some reason, being a bartender, right, somehow that pile of puke he's laying in at the end of that scene seems reasonable. I've seen people throw up where you're like, that guy just threw up more than his body weight. Like, how is that? So I'm like, I just watched the throw up, I'm like, that's ridiculous, but then when they show the big pile of puke at the end, I'm like, but that's reasonable. I've seen that, you know?
But have you seen a man eat his own head?
No, haven't seen that.
Haven't seen everything then.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
We just kind of glazed over. But yeah, the sex scene is like, when I was a kid in theaters, I was just like blown away. I was like, I can't believe this is what we're like. We're sitting like, 100 something strangers in a dark room. And I'm watching someone just play with action figures like I would in my bedroom like a couple years back, you know, kind of thing. Just like, oh my God, like this is,
they did a good job with those sex scenes too. I mean, like whoever, I don't know how that worked. I mean, the filming of this movie must have just been I don't know how they did it.
Yeah,
like
it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I imagine, because like the puppet work, I mean, even just in the sex scene alone, because they did a good job. That shit looked great. I was like, wow, okay. Like they're doing it. And also it made me feel very vanilla in my life. I'm just going to say, I'm like, if this is how the fucking marionettes get down, good Lord, I need some, I need to be better. But it was definitely hilarious. And I loved how they took it. They just kept pushing, like, oh yeah, they're fucking. And then it's like, oh, they're doing it all, baby. It was just like one after the next. It was great. And then there was all the scenes that were deleted too, where they was like fucking, he was pissing on her and shitting and shit. There was a bunch of deleted scenes, dude. It was crazy.
Which honestly, I feel like it's stronger without that. Like, I feel like it's stronger, just tighter.
I think so too.
Because it's just the shock value of it being like, oh, they're actually going to show the puppets fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the joke. You don't need it to be like this long,
I think it was a good choice, because they did plenty of long, drawn out fucking like the throw up scene, for example.
I mean, just the fact that they're puppets, like everything that they, the little, they're stumbling around, like, because you can see the strings and everything, or even like the Lisa trying to point at Gary's heart, and she's like, it matters what you have in here. And it's like 10 seconds of her trying to move her little hand to
all the intentionally bad marionette work is like, that shit got me every time too. Because it's like, because it's all walking. It's so fucking well crafted.
Yeah.
And like they've got, they're not just marionettes, like they're like motorized, like they're little robots. And so it's like the fact that we can just be like, okay, cool, we spent like $2 million on getting the servos for these things. Fuck the servos. We're just putting this one on strings. He's just gonna literally bounce down the hall.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is that was honestly what part of the times I was laughing the hardest was just the walking of the marionettes was so entertaining. Like especially Kim Jong-il when he would turn around or whatever, and like they would just like kind of hop him around, and like it was just like the movements, like it added to it. Because I was like, why would they go this route in my head? I'm like, they already are masters of this style. Like they could just do this the same way they always do, and obviously they just wanted to do something different and unique. It also worked. Like it made the story better on some level. I never thought that when I was watching it the first time. I'm like, marionettes. Like what the fuck are they doing? Come on. This time watching it through, I'm like, the marionettes were the reason that movie was partly so great. I mean, on some level. So
yeah, it's funny because you also have like that great they have a great mix of that stuff, but then also the Cairo chase is like a legit good action piece.
Yeah,
like
that's
you
true.
got like the
They
good
did so-
zooms and everything, and when they're you can see at one point they're like racing around on. I don't know. It's just
did they do any shots? Do you know if they did any shots that were regular size like live action shots, or were they all? Because I feel like I saw a couple shots where I'm like, that looks like a real. I mean, obviously they can make it look that way, right? Even if it's a small model, but there was a couple shots where I'm like, was that just a real? Like it was going to be easier to do it with like a full size thing? Because I don't know. I don't know if you guys know or not, but I felt like there was a couple shots I saw where I thought maybe they did. But
I purposely didn't look anything up because Javi was taking care of the trivia on this one.
Oh, okay.
So you'll find out about that.
Okay, great, excellent.
Hell yeah. And on to nitpicks. I got a couple, but if anyone wants to jump in.
Sure, I only got one, so I'll probably just get mine out of the way. Right around the maybe 45-minute hour mark, right around the middle, it sags a little bit. I'm So Ronry number and the Pearl Harbor sucked. Mm-hmm. For me, those two, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're hilarious, but I feel like those two are the weakest kind of segments for me personally, where the film kind of tonally slows down a little bit and you get the somber, like whatever, introspective stuff. So that's kind of where the film kind of like, oh, okay, this is, let's get past this so we can get back to Team America kicking ass.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was like, you had said earlier, Kyle, like, oh, you can't cut anything. It's like, I feel like there's a couple numbers, like especially like musical numbers, because they just don't really, I mean, they're funny, but
yeah. Well,
they're
especially
just like, you
now
could
it's
have
a
had
little
more
hard.
of like a montagey thing happening, because there's also like
They can't do two montagey things. They had the montage.
They had the montage song. That's true.
Which works. And it might just be because the Pearl Harbor thing might just be too outdated now. Where like I think just generally, I don't think enough people have seen Pearl Harbor at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely that reference is dated, and it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't. It's not like a movie. I think people thought when that movie came out, it was going to be like Titanic, where it was going to live on forever, and everybody's going to be talking about it, and it just did not. In fact, people are like, Josh Hartnett, who's that guy? I forget.
Yeah, I always forget he was. I was like, oh, that's right, he wasn't that.
It's like, that movie did not live on that well.
Yeah, that's my biggest critique, is just that it's a movie of its time. Mm-hmm. Like, aside from like the major satirical elements, like of just like, war and celebrityism and all that, it's like everything is so like, oh fuck, yeah, that did happen, huh? It's like, oh, that was 20 years ago. Yeah, like,
Well,
like, I forgot about Michael Moore. Like that kind of thing, and then I forgot, it's like, and then
but when you see, for me, when I resaw that, I'm like, oh yeah, fucking Michael Moore, right? That whole thing, But the thing is, like, to be fair, like just to add on to your nitpick, that's my big one too. Is like they're on the wrong side of this thing, right?
Oh, most definitely.
And so it's like, but yet they're on, like I said in the beginning, it's like they're on the right side of so many of the like the points. But the big picture of the whole thing about these people in the FAG are all pussies because they didn't want to be at war, and now we know. Like that was pretty fucking dumb war to be in. It's like, okay, so to watch this whole movie through the context of we're gonna call these people pussies, but we're wrong about this whole thing is kind of like, okay, that's pretty nitpicky. You know what I mean? That's easy to nitpick that.
Sure.
And then my other big one is just like a lot of the jokes will wear thin after a while, especially like the racial ones. Because it's like I was like cracking up at the first few like Durkas, and just like, oh yeah, oh shit, we're going there. Oh fuck, this is hilarious. But then it's like by the end of like some of the Cairo scenes, I was like, yeah, I get it. That's all they can say. And then same thing with like Kim Jong-un. Like I know it's like a South Park trope and stuff to just like kind of make fun of everybody and all that, but it's like, oh man, we're gonna do another joke about how his L's are R's, like that kind of like, fuck, like we only got 15 minutes of this movie left, and you're still putting like, we're still doing like, oh ha ha,
inevitable.
He can't say inevitable. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Sure. And it's like,
that's fair.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It did get tedious. I agree. And then the thing is like, it is like you said, it's a South Park. It's a South Park trope. So for me, it's just like, oh, this is just, again, I'm watching this like it's just an elongated episode. It's like all the specials they have coming out now for South Park. It's that movie's only an hour and 38 minutes or whatever. So it's not that much longer than the specials that are coming out now. So I just kind of see it like that. So it kind of wears on me a little less, at least, because I'm just like, oh, I'm not thinking of it like, oh, we only have 15 minutes left of this movie. I'm thinking of, I have 17 seasons, 25, whatever it is now.
Got 400 hours left of this movie.
Exactly.
And on to our rainy day double feature. What movie would you guys pair this with?
Okay, so I have a secret one that I can't reveal.
Okay.
And this was something that it was an after the fact of like, okay, now that I've done the research for the trivia section, I have this other double feature that I want to do. So I won't say that. I won't save it for the trivia.
We'll throw it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, stay tuned. We'll throw it to you.
You guys will figure it out. So what I just went with was I want more Matt Stone, Trey Parker. So I went with Orgasmo.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I think this day would be a day of full fun, laughing, enjoyment. I think I'm going to go with Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny to follow.
That's a good one.
I'm just going to get stoned all day and enjoy both of these movies in succession.
Yeah, I went Pearl Harbor because
no way.
I want to get a refresher on it. I want to see how bad it really is, and also like maybe I'll get some of the jokes. Like if I watch Pearl Harbor first, and then it's like, oh shit, that's a direct pull from that movie.
That's funny, yeah.
And onto this movie's cocktail. Today we've got the 9/11 times 1,000.
Oh shit.
So we've got half an ounce of 100 proof rye, half an ounce of scotch, quarter ounce of a sweet Amaro, eighth of an ounce of simple syrup, and an eighth of an ounce of smoked rhubarb Amaro.
Wow.
A little dash of bitters.
You fancy motherfucker.
I know. I'm trying to step it up season 2, man.
Jesus Christ.
Combine the ingredients in a shot glass and drop it into a glass of cheap beer. As you stand in the wake of your smoky bomb, realize that freedom isn't free. It's a hefty fucking fee. All right. A little cocktail ASMR. Ooh, that was a good beat.
Hell yeah, brother.
Oh, damn, that's delightful, honestly.
Oh, that was lovely.
That was better than that was a lot better than I was expecting.
With all the shit you said, I'm like, could be borderline torture, but that was actually worked out nicely. Wow.
Yeah. I might actually, I think that one's going in the repertoire, actually.
Yeah, put that in the book, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit.
All right.
I might steal that shit. What did you say was in it? We'll write that down.
Oh, yeah.
No, just kidding.
Well, Kyle plagiarizes me. I think this is a great time to take a quick little break.
Ad break.
Welcome back to everyone's favorite segment, Nostalgia Killers Trivia. We'll find out if our hosts are MVPs or WMDs.
All right, boys. Let's see if either of you have what it takes to prove your undying commitment to the podcast. You'll be able to prove it to me by sucking my cock.
I win.
Kyle wins.
Kyle wins. I flinched.
All right.
Never hesitate.
Do I get a card for that?
Yeah.
Wow, you are dedicated.
Like you actually get a card with my number and home information on it.
All right, question number 1. Which actor named this film as their number 1 must-see film? A. Bill Hader. B. Patricia Arquette. C. Alec Baldwin. D. Jodie Foster. Or E. Sir Patrick Stewart.
I'm gonna go Alec Baldwin because I feel like he could take a joke.
Ah, man, that's giving him some. I don't know if he can. I mean, I bet he can, but I don't know if he took this one well. But if he did, that's amazing. I'm gonna go with A because I just feel like he would like this movie. So Bill Hader's gonna like this movie. So I'm gonna go Bill Hader.
Neither of you got it.
For fuck's sake.
Pretty recently said in an interview, and it was Jodie Foster.
Oh, that's amazing.
Get out of town.
Yeah, so
they asked her.
Yeah, they asked her. I don't remember. It might have been Variety or something, but somebody asked her. And she said first, everywhere. She said
everything, everywhere, all at once.
Exactly, and then she said, "Wait, no, scratch that. Actually, my number 1 ever is Team America: World Police."
That's fucking incredible.
Yeah. That's amazing. And also, second choice was great too. I mean, everything, everywhere, all at once is wonderful. But yeah, that is. I cannot believe that's her number 1 pick. That's amazing. Okay, excellent.
She said she's really. I forget what the word she used was, but she's really into her sense of humor, and she said it's really stupid, but that's right up my alley. So.
I mean,
hell yeah.
Dude, I'm respect.
Bringing it back,
Jodie.
Yeah,
I fucking love Jodie
Jodie.
Foster, anyways. But that's even like another boom.
Question number 2. One of the parody/homage scenes in this film comes from a film that shares a crew member with this film.
I'm going to say Face Off.
Yeah, that's one of them. But is Mission Impossible?
None of you guys got it.
Okay.
Damn it.
So it's The Matrix.
Yeah,
Bill Pope was the director of photography for both The Matrix and this film.
No shit.
Really?
Yeah, and he said that he was super excited about taking this job because he wanted to do something that was completely different from what he had just spent the last couple of years doing.
He was the director of photography for both of those movies. Yeah. That is so fucking bananas because those movies you can't get any more different than those two movies. Like with especially in that role, like he's just like, well, fuck it, I'm going to show everybody in the world I can do whatever. Like that's amazing. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I did not know that. What was the guy's name?
Bill Pope.
Bill Pope. Okay.
Bill Pope. All right.
So far we're WMDing the shit out of this.
I know. That's what I was saying, dude. I was like,
he did a lot of big things. Yeah, Matrix included. included, yeah. Question number 3. How many instances of a real human appearing in the film are there?
See, I fucking knew it,
onto
dude.
it.
Okay.
All right, you guys get 1 point for guessing the right number. So if you guys just want to go ahead and try to guess how many times it happens, 2 points if you can guess which scenes.
I think that I'm gonna go 3, and I don't want to guess a scene because I that's just something my ADD doesn't allow me to do, is recall scenes like that.
Just to be different, I'm gonna say 2. And I'm gonna say, I know there's like a specific bit like that I remember like recalling being like, damn, that's some good puppetry. And I was like, oh, Chuck, that's not puppetry. You're a fucking idiot. Spotswood is handing a card, or Lisa's handing a card, and it seemed like it was too clean. Like it was like one of those like, oh, well, that's like a person handing you a card. And then, unless the puppetry was that good there. And then there was another bit where I want to say it was like a driving scene or something where it was like, it looked like they were actually clutching the wheel.
Oh yeah, see, I think yeah, wheel. Okay, maybe that's the car one I'm thinking because.
Okay, Kyle got it. It's 3.
It's 3.
It's 3. Now, let me give you guys a chance to take another quick shot at the second part of that question, because let me blow you guys' mind. Yes, those are in there, those hand shots, but there's actually 3 instances of a full-sized human being in there.
Yeah. Okay, I feel like
So it's not the hand shots, because you're right. I did forget to include those. There are quite a few where the hands are actually.
Oh, so do I not even get it for 3? But I get it for 3.
Get one for the 3, and then if either of you guys can guess, one of the scenes, you can get 2.
I'm not gonna. I do remember a feeling like I think I saw a full-size human, but I don't think I'll pull it. So
I feel like it's got to be like a random like crowd scene. So I'm just gonna pick one. I'm just gonna say at the World Peace Conference.
I will go ahead and give that to you, Chuck.
Okay,
nice.
because it was not specific enough.
But
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
So there are 3 instances, right? The first is, that's actually Trey Parker lying in the vomit.
Shut up! Oh, the vomit scene.
Yeah, and he is wearing prosthetics to like kind of make it seem more puppet-like, but that is his
because
full...
I did think that looked so good, that part.
because they shot it.
But I
and-
didn't know it. That I wouldn't have guessed that scene. But like, now that you say it, I'm like, okay.
That's an insane one to use a real person for,
Yeah.
because it's like you could have just poured a can of Campbell's soup on like a table and then laid the puppet in it.
But the road looked so right, like
That's
the
right.
size and everything. So that makes a lot of sense too. Like because they did that pull-up shot,
Yeah.
and it was like the road looked so real. And to have a puppet be the right size for a road to look real, they'd have to pave a little road. Like
you have to make a giant set.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, but apparently, for whatever it means, it didn't look right when they shot it with the puppet. So they thought, well, what if we just recreate it with...
That's amazing. That's so cool.
The other one is when Gary enters Kim Jong-il's palace, the big statue of Kim Jong-il is a real person in like silver paint.
Fuck.
And you can actually see the guy blink and like move a little bit as he's standing there with his... Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Which is why, because you think about like, oh, that place looks...
I'm
actually
taking my
huge.
point
It's
back.
huge.
That doesn't count, dude. That
No,
was
that's not it. That's not it.
Okay.
That's not it. I mean, I think you might still want to give your card back, but we'll see.
No.
And the third instance is during the peace ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
On the screens, there's actual footage of Alec Baldwin giving a speech.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's made to look like it's that moment. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And you only have one each, so just keep it.
Okay.
It's fine. Yeah. We'll keep it
Yeah,
interesting.
and that was difficult. These are. I mean, some of these are pretty hard. So, all right, number 4. The original idea for this film came from Trey Parker and Matt Stone wanting to make a shot-for-shot puppet version of which film? A, The Day After Tomorrow. B, Kill Bill. C, Gone with the Wind. Or D, Harold and Maude.
Kill Bill is my guess.
I'm gonna go A, Day After Tomorrow.
Chuck, you got it.
Hey!
It is The Day After Tomorrow.
But that's the right time. I should have
the
thought
right
about
time,
the time.
and also, like,
yeah.
And also, there's so many shots like the Panama Canal and stuff like that, which I'll get into later. But like, there's things like that I'm just like, oh, this is just like any disaster movie ever. Is like, it's perfectly done.
Yeah. So they had actually heard about Fox had greenlit The Day After Tomorrow. They got a hands on the script. And they were in tears laughing about how bad it was.
Yeah.
Of the concept of global warming attacking the Earth.
I wish I five-headed that a little harder, because if you think about what movie they'd make fun of, it wouldn't be Kill Bill. It'd be fucking Day After Tomorrow. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they're not like, they're smart guys, but they're not like heady enough to be like, oh, I want to do a weird puppet Harold and Maude. Which I want to see that. Like, that sounds fucking amazing.
Maybe that's what we should make, to be honest with you. That'd be fun. Because honestly, I did watch that movie yesterday. I'm like, we could fucking do some little shit like this. Like, what can we make fun of? We're pretty funny.
Yeah. Apparently they were pushing for it really hard, and their lawyers were like, "Please don't do this. Do not do this."
Well, I mean, I'm kind of happy for the lawyers, because what we ended up with was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Number 5. How many sets were built for this film?
Are we going to get a range, or are we just? Do you want to go close? Is it closest to gets the card between us, or how are we doing this?
Closest guess by 10 gets it.
Oh, by 10. Okay, so that's like a huge already. Just because of all the angles, I'm gonna say 60.
I'm gonna say 146.
You might just both have to take a card because the answer is actually a little vague as well.
Okay.
The answer said, it was listed over 100 sets.
So if I said 140, you said 60. So
Oh, you get it.
No, but
over
that's
100.
40.
Well, I didn't say 100 because 100 it would be
100 would be you.
It would be 60. But it's over 100. I mean, 101, 102.
Let's make this a header. You
Okay.
take a card.
Okay, we can Rochambeau. Oh yeah, no, you got a card.
it's like I
Okay.
gotta, yeah.
we're
We'll keep it down to like the wire.
We're gonna keep it going.
All right,
This
let's
is
do
good.
Number 6. What was the scene that pushed the film into NC-17 territory and had to be edited down 9 times before they finally received an R rating? Is it A, Sean Penn and Sam Jackson being eaten by the Panthers, B, the sex scene, C, the bar speech about pussies and assholes, or D, the ceremony speech about pussies and assholes?
Gotta be the sex scene.
I mean, I want to guess the sex scene too, but I feel like if now that you've guessed the sex scene, I want to go different because I feel like let's play this game. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick something else. I'm gonna go with D, the ceremony speech about pussies and assholes.
Yeah, I should have gone with your gut. It was the sex scene.
Yeah, all right.
There's no way it's not the sex scene just because it was like...
I knew they cut a bunch of shit from that
Yeah.
scene too, but like it's just like we got to play this game. Fun,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
which in typical, commentary fashion, the creators were like, okay, but you're fine with all like the gore and everything,
yeah,
and like, everything else,
exactly.
like, but that's too much.
Yeah.
But
then you hear about what the cut scenes were, and then you're like, well, I kind of understand. Like, and then also the cuts probably made it better. But I heard that they intentionally like overshot the shit out of that scene.
Yeah, they did.
For that purpose,
They
right?
did. They did. Yeah, and I mean, it was only, I believe, like 40 seconds that they cut out of the scene.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
to get their whole film okayed.
But that pushed it to NC-17,
Yeah.
or that would have pushed it to
They're
NC.
shitting on each other.
Yeah.
So, all right, number 7. The script had to be constantly revised as it was being filmed. What was the reason for the revisions? A, to appease the producers' concerns about the politics of it all. B, Matt Stone's attempt to interweave as many references as possible to all of his favorite films. C, to work around replacing fed-up members who quit on short notice. Or D, due to the difficulty of shooting with puppets.
I'm gonna go A. I know that there was a lot of that going on. Although that being said, I know the puppets thing was probably a huge workaround too. But I think I'll stick with A and just roll the dice on this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably A, but just to be different, I'm gonna go D.
You must be happy to be different, Chuck. 'cause,
Hey!
Yeah. And I thought you, I thought you.
Well, I mean, as someone who's worked with puppets several times,
yeah,
but
it's-
also like I feel like when you're making a big movie like this, you're also like in for a fucking penny, in for a pound. Because I mean, myself, like working with this kind of shit, it's like, well, yeah, I've got like hot glue burns, and like fucking my arms are cramping up from doing puppets and this and that. But I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like we're just gonna pivot. We're gonna cut that scene because like I just can't do that. But I feel like if you're getting paid, like if you're making like fucking Paramount money, yeah, these puppets suck, but here's an advance, bro.
Yeah.
Why don't you just marionette a little longer next time? I don't know. I feel like it's just like with the Hollywood system, I feel like they would just make that problem go away. But
no, it's too much of a pain in the ass later than that.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it's less like the money doesn't. It's like the time and the effort. They're just like it gets tedious, right? They want to have fun. I imagine like at work, my whole thing is let's have fun so that we can do our job great. If these guys got to be the same way.
Yeah,
they got to be
exactly.
like, as soon as this gets tedious and boring, we're gonna make a shittier product. So let's just fucking change the script until it's fun for us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I was like, that's kind of like my mantra with making movies anyways, too, is always like, let's have so much fun that other people want to join in on the fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then that way everybody's having a good time and it never gets tedious and your job doesn't feel like a job. I mean, if you're doing that, you're living life right. That's free advice from Kyle Warner right there.
That's right. For more advice from Carl Warner, sign up for our Patreon.
Number 8. True or false? Matt Stone and Trey Parker reached out by letter to all of the celebrities depicted in the film, sarcastically asking them to voice themselves. Only 2 responded, one being Sean Penn, who signed it, "Go fuck yourselves, Sean Penn," and Helen Hunt, who was enthusiastic about the offer and even asked if her on-screen death could be more violent than written.
I'm
You
going
go first.
true just because, like, legally, I think, like, with some of that shit, you have to get permission. Like, you can't, like, I mean, obviously with South Park, they don't, like, most of the time. But I mean, like, with something like this, like, it's like a big budget movie. It's like, okay, well, just, like, we gotta appease somebody. So here's, like, will you be in this movie?
Okay, I'm gonna go false. Just because I want to be different, I need an extra card to beat you, so I'm gonna go for the opposite answer. Because even if I lose, it's fine. But here's the thing: I think it is possible that it's false because your sentiment makes sense. Other than it's a satire satire, I don't think they really have to ask anybody to use their permission. I did hear an interview with Matt Damon about how he felt about his role in it after, because I was curious, because I watched that movie obviously again a couple days ago, and I was like, what the fuck did Matt Damon think of this? And so I instantly I paused the movie like after the third Matt Damon, I was just like, what did this fucker think? Because I was hoping, because I like Matt Damon, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a big fan, so I was hoping he was gonna have such a good attitude about it and just be like, I thought it was fucking hilarious and all this stuff. That's not what I got from his interview, but it was like, he was like, I just didn't really get it. He's like, is that what he was kind of like, is that what people think? Like, he's like, when he first saw it, he was like, I guess he talked about like the issue with how do people view me is a big thing for people in Hollywood. He wasn't exactly like, I thought it was hilarious, but he was like, it was fine. He's like, I appreciate those guys. I think they're amazing. So he had a good attitude about it, but he wasn't like, that was the funniest fucking thing I ever saw.
Well, that tangent was worth it because it was false.
Hey!
Yeah, it was false. They did not reach out to anyone.
Okay, If Jody's cool, Helen might be cool.
Yeah. yeah.
Dude,
No,
I was
like,
actually
this sounds
hoping,
real.
will Helen be cool? Like, that would be dope. Yeah, and the Jody did play into the head there. I was like, maybe.
All right, number 9. True or false? So much detail and preciseness went into this film that just one of the Team America guns cost $1,000 to make.
I'm going to say true.
I'm going to say false.
It is true.
Yes.
Yeah, one of their just
Bringing
to make
me
one of
back.
the little Uzis, the Team America customized Uzis cost $1,000 to make. Kim Jong-il's glasses were actually prescription accurate.
Fuck off. For Kim Jong-il? Like if he put those fuckers on?
I don't know, but I know that like it was an actual prescription like number, like
they were real glasses.
Yeah.
We at least know that
fitted
part.
to like that size of a lens. Yeah.
Wow,
That's insane.
that's bananas.
That kind of stuff is like, I appreciate attention to detail, but I'm also like, fuck off, dude. Pay your people.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, pay the guy whose like arms are broken because he was like moving marionettes for 12 hours a day for 6 months.
I know, for real.
Last question, Kyle. I hope you listen to the podcast because this might be where it comes in handy. If
Okay.
you do. So this is our suspicious connections question. Name all the puppet version of the actors who have appeared in previously reviewed movies on the podcast. 1 point for each one.
I will guess that Matt Damon has to be in one of the movies that you've covered. Are you shitting me?
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
We're fucking
well, you know what? Then you know what? Let me
Which I was
tell you one
surprised too,
thing.
because I was like, wait a minute. he
I'm
really
about to
hasn't?
be. We're doing 3 Matt Damon movies in a row, you fuckheads, and I'll be back for all 3 because there's fucking way too many good Matt Damon movies to not have been done any.
Definitely Baldwin.
Okay, I'll just go Tim Robbins. Did you do a Tim Robbins movie?
Samuel L. Jackson.
Did you do a Helen Hunt movie?
I'm gonna say George Clooney.
Let's go with Susan Sarandon.
The last 2 are Danny Glover, who was in Saw.
Danny Glover
Danny
was in
Glover's
Saw?
in this movie?
Yeah, he's one of the guys that gets eaten by the Panthers. Yeah.
Yeah, Danny Glover was in it for like, I think a total of like 10 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other one was Janine Garofalo, who was in The Cable Guy.
Motherfucker, she is in that movie.
That's the heart. Yeah, that was the.
Damn.
Yeah. Congratulations, Chuck.
Woo! I finally won something, you guys. No, my tally is not good. It's my my
was
show, and I'm fucking ass at it. But you know who's not fucking ass at this show? Addie Martinez. Thank you, Addie. We're gonna take this time to give you a shout out as one of our executive producers. You support the show. You lift us up. You are our Spotswood, and you know what? I'm not even gonna make that joke because your brother's sitting here. But yeah, like if you listen to the song at the beginning, if you connect some dots, we do that for you, Addie, because you're our Spotswood. If you would also like to be affiliated for the podcast, please, join our Patreon at patreon.com/nostalgiakillerspodcast. We're going to take a little ad break, and we're going to write some new dick jokes, and we'll come right back. Ad break. And we're back with Act 3, the award categories. We start things off the way we always do with my new band name. You guys got any memorable quotes or moments that would make a cool band name?
No. Here's what I did was I thought this instead. I thought instead of a band name, what we should do is just change the national anthem to America! Fuck yeah! I think if we did, I think this country would, probably be at least in the same state it's in now or maybe potentially better. So
Yeah, I mean, we're already living in a meme. Might as well embrace the meme.
Exactly. I mean, I watched the debates yesterday or 2 days ago. I didn't actually. I watched 12 minutes minutes of the debates before I was like, oh God, America, not fuck yeah. It was pretty tough. So I think maybe we need a little change. And so I just decided, you know what, let's just go national anthem, America, fuck yeah, and see what happens. I think if we roll the dice, shake things up a little bit, we're going to be in a better place.
I had Saddest Moment of My Life. It's an emo band, and that's
That is great. That is great.
The saddest. I just think of the saddest moment of my life.
Gary, no!
Dude, it was that little Gary in the background fucking kills me too.
I had Perfect Weapon, Gary. They're a pop punk band.
Nice, yeah.
I've got Gas Gorillas. They're a dubstep revival act. The gorillas beat them to death before they could gas them all. And my last one is Giant Socialist Weasel. They're an early 2000s like Green Day era political punk band.
Nice.
I got Simple Nebraska Boy.
Hell yeah.
Which is a country act, yeah.
Clearly a country act. I mean, what else could it be?
And then I have I have Chauffeur Androgynous.
Ooh, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
That's a techno rock band, yeah.
Techno rock?
And just
Okay.
because
I was thinking Cajun funk rock, but yeah, that's the same thing.
Yeah, that one, I don't know why that cracks me up so hard too.
That's
just seeing that, I'm
really
like,
good.
that's like a female puppet, right? But like,
They put
got
a mustache on it.
and-
Yeah, no, I know. It's
very
so-
seductive too. It's like giving Gary the look of like,
Oh, I know. I mean, I feel like it was probably intentional, but it's one of those things where it's like, God, yeah, it is such a, like, that puppet of all the puppets is the most uncanny one. Because I was like, what happened here?
yeah.
I like it.
They don't speak.
I like the mystique, yeah. We've got the Roger Deakins Would Be Proud Award for cinematography.
For me, it was the opening scene where they start with the shitty marionette. And because I think literally the first time I watched this, they turned that on and I was like, oh, dude, no, I don't think I'm ready for this. Like, I get it. It's Trey Parker. It's going to be good, but I can't watch this shit. And then within, 15 seconds, I'm like, okay, thank fucking God or whatever it is. But that scene was really well done. I heard that they did it also in front of the studio without telling them. And the studio was also had that same reaction that I had, which was, what did we just spend all our fucking money on when they saw that initial scene? And then they were like, okay, they were like me, like, okay, I can actually get through. Yeah. So that I'm going to go with that scene.
I wish Luke was here, but maybe Chuck, you can help me out. But there's this thing that they do. I don't know if they're like speeding up or if they're increasing the frame rate or something, but especially like during the Cairo chase, they have like these extreme close-ups and it just looks like the camera's super crisp.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, I don't know if they just increase the frame rates for like specific scenes, but it just looks like they're moving like, not like in fast motion, but it's just...
I'm assuming they did something like that because, like, I mean, I don't know because I don't have, like, the info in front of me right now. But, like, because you're fucking with models and stuff, like, and it's so meticulous that it's, like, you have to kind of speed up some stuff. So I think just playing with frame rates right there. Because, when we did Felt Up, there's a few scenes where it was just like, oh, fuck, that looks terrible. And then it was like, well, let's reshoot it, but let's reshoot it with, like, a slow-mo cam. This looks way cleaner because the movement was so janky as it is. So it's like you can just play with it a little more.
No, and as I had mentioned earlier, I think that added to, like, how good that action scene looked. Like, whoa, this looks, like, really intense, like, really well shot.
Yeah, for me it was anytime they're craning through the sets, especially Panama.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Like Panama just like coming through as the dam breaks and stuff, like of the canal. And it's just like, oh, this looks like, this legit looks like The Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Got the Hans Gruber Death Fall Award.
I mean, Samuel L. Jackson, right? Just getting torn apart type of shit is like, that's pretty up there. So I'll go with that.
Yeah, I had a couple, but I'll go with my top one. I had Janine Garofalo.
Yeah.
When she gets her head blown up by the shotgun, because it looks like what it would look like in an actual movie as well, where like, her eyes kind of roll upwards and like her gun points upwards as like she kind of sinks to the ground and her head just fucking explodes. Crazy. It looks so good.
That scene reminded me of, remember that show Celebrity Deathmatch?
Oh yeah.
That scene reminded me of that show because like I felt like everybody's head exploded at the end of those matches.
Yeah, since you went Janine, I went Susan Sarandon explatting.
Yeah, that was good. Honestly,
so
like
good.
that shit hit the floor. She hit the floor and turned into a fucking jelly, like a jelly pile. It was
that was like just a fucking like plastic bag with puppet parts glued to it. It was so good.
Yeah.
Why I like Waterworld, a controversial hot take. You guys got any hot takes on this movie?
I mean, this movie is a hot take, right?
I know, the whole movie is a hot take.
It's like, I think that my hot take I kind of covered in the beginning, which was they were right, but they were wrong, So
they were on the wrong side of history with this one.
They're on the wrong side, but they had some serious legitimate points. And just because they were wrong about this specific issue, my hot take is that they weren't entirely wrong about their similar sentiment.
My hot take, I think we need a fucking sequel. We need a sequel, which I'll get more to later.
That is a hot take.
But yeah, we need a sequel.
The thing is I wonder what they would do now, because especially knowing that they were, I wonder if they feel like they were on the wrong side of history now. You know, that's a question that I would have if I was ever to talk to them. Because like the sequel, what would they...
I'll tell you what they'll do in the next question. I'll tell you.
Okay, great.
All right. Yeah, my hot take is the same hot take that I have about South Park. Mainstream audiences aren't smart enough for satire.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, honestly, that's so true, though.
Growing up with this movie, like, you know, I saw it when I was 15, and like I said dumb shit. Everyone around me said dumb shit. A lot of people that I grew up with would latch on to the racist stereotypes and weaponize them for hate speech.
Oh God,
like being like using the Durka shit like against people of like Middle Eastern descent, or like being like, oh, like, are you Ronry right now, kind of thing. And it's like, fuck.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that in that way. Like, that's the thing. And you're right. Like, people are dumb. Like, they look at that movie and think it's funny for all the wrong reasons. And it's like, that shouldn't be a hot take, because that should just be everybody with
common
a reason.
Decency shouldn't be a hot take.
Yeah, exactly. But sadly, it is a hot take.
But it's like, that's the big problem with South Park and stuff like that, is like they're trying to criticize like xenophobia and our tendencies towards violence, and like how like, hey, maybe America is like this spooky imperialist power. People don't pick that up. They're just like,
they're like, yeah, Team America.
They're like, we're the best. Yeah. I fucking hate brown people. And those guys talk funny. So like, fuck yeah, bro, high five. Like,
and on some level, does that make the movie entirely irresponsible, right? Because it's, even though the people that take it the right way are taking it the right way, and the movie's amazing, if enough people take it the wrong way, it's at what point is it like, fuck, you know, like that's, you don't want people taking this movie the wrong way. It's bad, but we can get into that when we talk about the end game of this whole thing.
There's like a YouTuber person, blogger person that I really like. Her name is May Leitz, and she has like a really good argument about how like we have ratings for like sex and violence and like all that stuff. We should have fucking ratings for media literacy. Like, where it's like, all right, this is up on this shelf. You can only rent or watch this movie if you understand that Patrick Bateman is not a good guy.
Wait, what?
Like, it's like, okay, like, it's like, oh, I want to watch American Psycho. Sick. Do you get that you don't want to be fucking the guy from American Psycho? No, I don't. Okay, sick. You don't get to rent this movie.
If only we could count on reasonable answers and people like you know, being honest and not lying. I mean, that's the thing. But
that's
it's
hilarious.
like the fuck yeah.
All right, that brings us to Blue Velvet meets Blue's Clues. What film would you mash up with this movie to improve it or make it a total train wreck?
Because I liked the idea of the Day After Tomorrow thing, right? I was like, oh, what other movie would be great? And so I just went with my favorite movie of all time. I want to see a puppet version of Inglourious Bastards.
Ooh.
Yeah, like shot for shot remake with like just artistically, I would love to see.
Yeah,
that's neat, and that's not at all the way I took this question. So
it's okay. It's not. That's just kind of my.
But that is such a. I do want to see that, and it would be so sick if you had a team up with Quentin Tarantino and those two boys. Like, imagine what would happen. Like, they would probably have so much fun. It would be the most fun ever had on any set of all time. I think. Oh my god, that's amazing.
All the puppet feet. Oh my god.
So for me, I went with the train wreck side of things. I thought that this movie, if you combine it with Polar Express, this would be the greatest Christmas movie of all time. About what it's just like these two movies. I think if you combine them, it's magic, it's gold, and it's also like, is it a wholesome Christmas movie, or is it what we know and love Team America to be? So I think that if you can combine those two movies, it would be the most entertaining thing to watch.
I love that.
Hell yeah. Well, I went more cop out. I went Team America meets Showgirls.
Okay.
So I want to use the puppets to show how silly and stupid erotic thrillers are. It's like, if you just take the sex away, you're like, fuck, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. Also, this is a cop-out because I already have a script for that. And I want to make it. I need to retool that script, and I would love to try and shoot that soon.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Pluggables, you guys got anything you want to talk about or push other than this amazing show that you should listen to and subscribe to?
Definitely tune back in for the Rounders episode, where I will be attending, because that's coming up here in the next, I don't know, however long. But
well, we'll keep that ace up our sleeve and make sure that you're available for that one.
Yeah, because it's literally my favorite movie.
Oh, well, it's your favorite movie. You got to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at least it was growing up my whole life, and I still have it as that. Like, I don't think it's the best movie of all time, but it is, like, nostalgia-wise, my favorite movie, so I can't wait to come back for that.
Hell yeah. Which brings us to, do we call Jules and Vincent good or bad? Is this movie worth a rewatch? Do we kill it? Do we let it live? What do you gentlemen think?
I have to let it live. I fucking love this movie, and even though, that was an interesting concept, Kyle, you're the one that brought up the possible irresponsibility of this movie existing. I don't know. I love me some satire, and I have to let it live, and I'm going to keep recommending it to, thankfully, I only have the right kind of people in my circle, so I'm pretty comfortable that I can recommend it to just about anyone in my circle, and they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I have to say, as much as I agree that there is some level of you have to consider the irresponsibility of making this movie because of, or whatever, like the impact this could have because of the common viewer, I think that if we start deciding which movies we let live or make die based on people who are making bad decisions, then we're censoring, like it's a bad move, right? Like they need to catch up with, figuring out how the world works and not being shitty people before we need to start censoring the amazing movie. So I'm going definitely let it live. This movie's fucking hilarious. And for the people that take it in the right way and know the intent is to make fun of things that could be used in a hurtful way, but don't have to be, I think that's, honestly, we're at our peak society when we can do that. When we can all have fun with each other, poke fun at each other, recognize each other's differences, and do it in a way where we can even have like poke fun at it and really like give each other our time, but still know that there's love there and it doesn't mean anything and accept the differences. That's really like a prime society that I want to live in. And so I'm saying let it live big time. In fact, make a fucking sequel for sure.
No, I agree with both you boys. I'm gonna let it live. I have like a little reservations letting it live, not because of like political reasons or this or that. I'm more like some of the jokes were just so fucking dated.
It is very 2004 to be fair.
Exactly.
And
it's so in its element that it's like, I'll probably watch it again for sure, but I'm probably not gonna watch it again for another 10 years. And then by then I'll be like, we had beef with North Korea?
Yeah. But that's the thing is there's some value, at least for me, there's some value in remembering what life was like in 2004 in 10 more years too. So I think let it live just purely for the principle of that is almost worth it too, right? Like in 10 years we watch it, we're like, holy shit, like we forgot all of these things that were happening that were so important to us then.
We are going to go to the Sonic Death Monkey Top 5. And this week's question is, what are your top 5 all-time movie themes that pump you up?
I feel like I'm going to be just like as vanilla as my sex life in this one because let me tell you, it's not. The things that pump me up, you guys are going to be like, really? But I'm going to be honest. So here we go.
That's fine. My list is pretty weird too.
Okay, I'm going to start with the basic and simple but lovable, always lovable Star Wars intro. As soon as that, you see the thing show up and they hit you with the first noise like that, like, you're like, okay, I'm like, here we fucking go. And here's the thing, not all the movies are great. In fact, a lot of them aren't, but I still fucking, that sound pumps me the fuck up. So I'm going Star Wars to start it off.
Most of my movies are shit as well, but the songs.
Songs, we're talking songs. Okay, good. Then we're all on the same page.
So my number 5 is Weird Science by Oingo Boingo from the movie Weird Science. From my heart and from my hand, why can't people understand my intentions? And just like, the most 80s shit you've ever heard in your life, but it's so fun.
Yeah.
My number 5, I have the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Ooh, hell yeah.
Fuck. I bet you that.
Anytime that pops up, I'm just like, don't step on it. Don't step on it.
I have to start revving.
I have to fight every urge.
I swear to God, the fastest I've ever driven in my life was when I was coming home from Fast 5. I was fired up, brother. I don't know what it was. Those movies make you want to just fucking drive. That's for sure.
Hand on the fucking nos. Just like, don't do it.
All right, number 4 for me is going to be the classic Harry Potter intro, which my girlfriend and I watch every holiday season, and I enjoy it. I mean, here's the thing is I've seen these movies now all the time. It just makes you feel like the holidays. We put it on in the background. We don't watch them all. We don't sit down and fucking popcorn them every time, but it's something that brings the holidays back for me. So it's undeniable how good the music was in that and throughout that movie. So I'm going Harry Potter.
Yeah, my number 4 is Independent Women Part 1 by Destiny's Child from Charlie's Angels. That song is a fucking banger and a half, and I always forget that it was the theme song for Charlie's Angels until you're almost through it, and then Beyonce's just like, Charlie, do your angels get down like this? And I'm like, the fuck is she? Oh, that's like, I have to do the math in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, it was a theme song. Okay, yeah.
My number 4 was the same as yours, Kyle.
No way.
The Harry Potter theme.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Up top, dude. That's
and then
good.
Usually you get that like little opening scene, and then you get the da da da. So gets me, and I don't feel strongly about like the last couple ones, but it kind of like your Star Wars argument, like doesn't matter, the theme still got me pumped, and I was like, maybe it'll be different this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next one, number 3, is going to be the good old Jurassic Park theme song. Every time, I mean, it's just like, it's one of those things, even when I'm at work, 3 times a week, I'll be whistling the Jurassic Park theme. Nobody knows why. Everyone's like, is that fucking Jurassic Park you're whistling over there? I'm like, oh, it probably is. I didn't even know I was doing it. That's how good that fucking song is. I mean, it just gets me going. And look, again, another example of a majority of shit movies throughout the franchise. The original's amazing. There's some redeemable qualities, I guess, in a few of the other ones. So it's just like, it's more the song itself. Like it gets me pumped up. It's like, it's the song that represents a new world, walking into a new world. Like, da-da, so sure. I don't know. That's number 3 for me.
My number 3, I'm giving it back to Oingo Boingo. I tried really hard not to put 2 Oingos on here, but we got it. So I got the Forbidden Zone theme song from the movie The Forbidden Zone. And it's just Danny Elfman's like fucking voice modulation. Like, it's so hard out your own. Like, he just does like, I don't know, nobody else does that. Like fucking Jack Skellington, doing his like, his thing. So Forbidden Zone theme.
My number 3, I had Gonna Fly Now from the Rocky movies. The iconic.
I didn't even know that was the name of it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought that was called... Wait, no. Oh, no. That's not the same song. Never mind.
Yeah, because yeah. Anytime it comes on, if I'm working out or if I'm doing whatever, like, I'm just like, yeah, it's going to be a fucking great day.
Yeah.
Let's get this bread. Yeah, it's...
Hell yeah.
Number 2 for me, I have the one, the only, the Indiana Jones classic. These are all like, again, I think the reason these are all hitting for me is it's all movies where when I was a kid, it was a theme song that would come on and I would just be fucking pumped as fuck about it. And aside from my number 1, all of the theme songs that just constantly are on rotation in my head, whether I'm in the shower, singing bullshit or whatever, whether I'm driving in my car, these are just the classic quintessential theme songs for me. So
yeah, my number 2 is Come On and Slam, and Come On and Drink, Come On and Slam.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the Space Jam theme song by the Quad City DJs.
Dude.
Saw that movie in theaters at like 6 years old. That movie, hot take, the movie fucking sucks. But at 6, 7, that movie was my world.
I saw that in
I remember
theaters.
like jumping up in my fucking seat in the theaters. And just like, I was having a fucking seizure. Like, I was like, this is the greatest song I've ever heard in my life.
Dude, I couldn't agree more. That movie, when we were a kid, felt like it was the greatest movie ever made. I mean, you're talking about Michael Jordan and all of our favorite characters all in one thing. It's like, what the fuck is happening? This is euphoric. Yeah, totally. And
we gotta do it on this.
I do want to rewatch that because I haven't seen it again since then. So like you said, I'm sure it's terrible, but you got to do it, right?
My number 2 was your number 5, the Star Wars theme. Big Star Wars guy, and yeah, I have the same opinion as well. The last half of them, just dog shit. But again, every time, the second that we get my eardrums explode, I feel at home.
Yeah.
In a galaxy far, far away.
So my number 1, I kind of cheated a little bit on my number 1 because it's the entire Grease soundtrack is my number 1. I fucking...
Left fucking field, my guy.
You never knew that. But when I was a kid, my mom, was basically, they re-released fucking Grease into theaters, right? In like the early 90s. So I went to see it. I thought it was amazing. And then my mom got the album. And I probably from the age of like 8 until the age of like, or maybe the age of like 7 until the age of like 10 or 11, I was just listening to the Grease theme on repeat, or the Grease soundtrack on repeat, and I just fell in love with all those songs. And I don't really listen to it that much anymore, but to this day when one of them comes on, I fucking belt that shit, boy. Every single song, I get into it. It's just one of those things where I can't leave it off the list, knowing that at my most impactful age, for those 5 years, it was all I wanted to listen to or whatever. So that's my number 1.
Yeah, my number 1. And this was like the second you suggested this, like as a category hobby. This was the first, like it was just like instant, like Pavlovian, just like, well, that's it. That's the song. I got to give it to Jim West, Rough Rider, Desperado, You Don't Want Nato. Wild Wild West by Will Smith featuring Drew Hill from Wild Wild West.
Dude,
That's
Wild
amazing.
Wild West has got to be the best song in the worst movie.
Oh, yeah. You know what? It was so hard to make this list and I like purposely tried to make it like slightly different. I kicked myself for doing 2 Oingo songs because I was trying just to be like, this can't just be Will Smith songs.
But it can. I mean, if you ask me, Miami, I mean, just the two of us, Will Smith has a place for all of us 90s babies in our hearts for the rest of time.
It's
plus,
opening
not
and
to
closing
mention,
movies.
if we were allowing shows into this, in West Philadelphia, born and raised, is pretty much, it's got to be.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the one. So
Wild Wild West is technically a buddy cop movie. So Kyle, we're gonna have to get you on for that. So we'll have to do that. And this is Team America's a cop movie.
Yeah, that's true. So
I'm buddy cops
got a theme. Yeah. I do have a theme going.
Which, speaking of, for my number one, I had to go with it. I had the song. I sing it at minimum once a year, fucking out loud, nonstop for like 24 fucking hours. I was singing it all of yesterday. I was singing it all of this fucking morning. I was singing it on the way over here.
Let it
America!
Fuck
yeah!
Nice.
Anytime I think about it. Yeah, I think that's my Jurassic Park theme, where I'll just be at work and then I'm just under my breath. America,
that's awesome.
Fuck yeah. Just for no fucking reason, unprompted. Yeah. Anytime I hear the opening. Yeah, I'm singing it.
That's funny. You know what's another one just now that I'm thinking about that's fun is I don't know. I'm a big Kevin James fan. Like, love fucking like absurdly too much. Like, I love his bad movies. I love his good movies. I just think this man's amazing. But he did a movie called Here Comes the Boom, which a lot of people are like, it's fucking not that good of a movie. And I'm like, you're all fucking dumb. Okay, Here Comes the Boom is an incredible movie. And there's a song in that where they changed the Journey theme because one of the guys is trying to get become a citizen of the U.S. and he's trying to learn all the things he needs to learn, but he can't do it. So she teaches him through singing a technique to learn. And so like I'll be sitting at work like at least twice a week and I'll just be like, America has a president. He serves a 4-year term before he's done. It's like, I don't know why, but I just can't get that shit out of my head. Like, it's just an amazing, so it's just sometimes, these things, it's great. This is an amazing category. Let's just put that down.
I also was blown away by Grease because I thought I had your number one pigeonholed.
Oh, did you? What was it going to be?
I thought it was Circle of Life from The Lion King.
So Circle of Life from The Lion King. So for those of you that don't know on the podcast, the Circle of Life on The Lion King is my go-to song for karaoke. It is a song where basically it doesn't matter immediately upon the opening of Na Tibetnya Nama Beatsibia. People are captivated. So it does make sense for sure that you would think that. I don't know why. I guess I kind of just left that. That's in my head. That's my karaoke jam. Yeah. So I lived in that zone. But
that lives in another drawer. That's a separate not a theme drawer. Song.
But if any of you want to do karaoke, just let me know. Kyle Warner. Yeah, at Kyle Warner on nothing.
And with that, we'll bring it home. Thank you for listening. If you're still listening, I have been Chuck Starzenski.
I've been Kyle Warner.
I have been Javier Martinez.
And we have been the Nostalgia Killers.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah!
Bang, bang.